Hello, my friends. It's your friend Kevin on this somewhat somber day in May 2022. Um, I've been sitting here for quite a while this morning, meditating in reflection, praying, if you will, as to what to say, or even if I should say anything um, regarding the devastating shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Had never heard of this place until I was brought to the awareness of 19 children and 2 adults being killed by a lone gunman before that person was killed by a border patrol officer. And I think being sensitive, as I am, to the differences between the living and those who have passed and ascended, I wasn't sure what to say, and nothing seemed to be appropriate. We could take the position that I don't know that anyone knows what to say. I certainly felt love and compassion for the 21 families that are now affected, and extending that to the entire town that will forever be known for this act of violence makes no sense. How do you make sense of it? And for any of us that are trying to grapple with it, there's this sense of we have to somehow move forward. Last night I was reflecting and thinking, well, this is not the first time. We had Parkland, Florida, a high school. Those survivors marched up to Washington to enact some changes to be made so they could feel safe when they went to school. That wasn't the first time. Sandy Hook, another elementary school, right before Christmas in 2012, I think. All of those young lives and their families forever changed. We will never look at the town or the school in any other way. Before that, there was Columbine High School in 1999. And whether it is an elementary school, a high school, a synagogue, a church, a prayer group, a college, a movie theatre, a spectator arena, those folks in Las Vegas that were attending a country concert outside, a man had intentions of going into a hotel room, setting up his sights and shooting out the window of a casino, just spraying bullets, not knowing any of the people who he was either going to hurt or kill, or even how devastated those individuals would be for losing those loved ones. So how do any of us, those of us who are still here, make a difference? I put that question up to spirits, angels, whatever, my grandparents, my ascended masters, my spirit guides, because that's all I knew how to do. Countless other people, my friends, just stunned. There is a numbness, a no feelingness, a somberness that takes over us when a group all of a sudden become no longer in physical form. We hear the words, "This has got to stop." I turn off mainstream news because I personally believe a great deal of what we see, what we're exposed to through the media, whether it's a network news or whether it's social media, whatever that is, somehow has a filter. Somehow it's been influenced by someone. So it to me seems like, well, unless it comes right from somebody who's experiencing something, I'm not sure how to respond. I was quite taken aback by the political people. Those are the people that supposedly enact laws and make a difference. And here you have a governor of a state who incidentally is up for election this year, doing a press conference, and his political opponent, a Mr. O'Rourke, has decided to interrupt it while cameras are rolling, pointing fingers and blame and carrying on, making a fuss at the governor. Now, look, this is where we're at, people. We are stuck in this two-system political thing and have been forever if you're American. And I am reminded that in 1992 I took that Pledge of Allegiance and became an American citizen, not from here, didn't grow up here, certainly grew up with violence, not on this level or this scale, but I am quite confused at how we have politicians that sometimes skew the lines between being a politician and being celebrity and being famous. Certainly, I do believe there were some good politicians at some point that did make a difference. Now I don't quite know what difference they're making. I really don't, because nothing seems to be changing. What I have noticed, and what I am interested in learning more about, is how the voice of people are actually enacting some changes. Mr. Floyd, who 2 years ago was shown all around the world for being struck down by law enforcement. Now, he wasn't the first. You can go back years before that. Trayvon Martin before that. And yet, just recently, this law about lynching being, I think, a hate crime of some sort or another, just got passed. Whoa, hang on. This was going on way back when, and we just got here. There is something to be said for what they call the power of the people. I don't necessarily agree with what happened in Washington, D.C. in January of 2021, where a group of people stormed the White House or stormed the Capitol buildings and created mischief and mayhem. That's a different kind of power, but needless to say, it created enough of a change to where, people took notice. Now, as a human being, we're human and we're hardwired to form an opinion. That's, in a way, where we're at. We form an opinion about what we see, what we hear, who we trust, who we don't trust, whether it's COVID, vaccination, non-vaccinated, masks, no masks, all of those things. Back in the early 80s, when AIDS became somewhat of a pandemic, those of us who were gay, openly so, were judged and shunned and made to do or feel like we were somehow dirty. So that doesn't feel pretty good. However, there's protests and the power of people's ability to come together and create communities from adverse situations is known throughout history create change. We go all the way back to the early 1920s, where women wanted the vote. I still can't believe that back then women were not created as equal to men. It defies logic. My point in coming here and doing this, however many people it reaches, I'm hoping it reaches someone, is to start from where you sit, your seat. New beginnings, there has to be one. A change, there must be one. And the law, what does it say? What does it mean? More importantly, how do we change it? So I'm a man who is nearly 60. I don't know how long I've got here. I do know the time I have on this earth to do something meaningful is limited. I already had one strike in 2012 when I had a heart attack and said, well, I wasn't ready to go. That's when I had a visitation from ascended relatives that I knew that had passed over, saw them, spoke to them, listened to them. They were coming to get me to go on to the next. No. I have work to do. I don't know what that work is. I didn't know what it was then. I just went about my business. But there was something that struck me about the fact that we do have a voice. We can be influencers. When I hear someone saying they're not good enough, they're a loner, they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel loved, they don't feel like they matter, they don't feel important, they don't feel attractive, they don't feel like they could ever get a partner, they don't feel like they could ever be loved. That is sad. That is not quite right. I don't want to get off on a tangent. Somehow, some way, somewhere, as those who are still here have to honor not just the 21 innocent people that went to school to learn something, but all the others that went to do something one day and didn't make it home for whatever reason. We all look for reasons why, and we are programmed mentally to blame somebody. Whose fault is this? Shouldn't have happened. The news fools will say, I call them news fools because they're not really doing anything. They've just got a script in front of them. Here's the camera and blabbity 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 blabbity. Who did what? Who did this? Who did that? Let's go interview somebody that knew them. Let's go find out what was going on. It doesn't change the fact that it happened. Doesn't change. What does change is how we do this moving forward. If you find somebody who's having a day, who's having a moment, who's really not sure, and they're about to lose their mind, it's time to, are you okay, and can I help you? And what do we need to do? Not just walk right past them and look at them like they've lost their mind, because they have lost their mind temporarily. And yes, we all know those folks who are struggling with something. Something's upset them. I know myself, a few weeks ago, something really trivial now, at the time was quite devastating. And then I realized this is not a problem. This is something I am being a little bit of a diva about, and I need to get over myself. And I did. And now I thought, okay, well, that's fine. How do we honor all those children? How do we honor all those adults? How does this stop? I think to try to be more loving with each other, to be a little more kind to one another, to recognize that we are all humans. We're all people having a human experience. And we really are, if we live in a Western society, entitled to our own opinion and our own thoughts. It's respect. It's integrity. It's not so much what do I want, what would work for me. It's what do we want, what would work for us. And then for those of us who are on the tail end of the boomers, or even the baby boomers, or even that next generation, it's the children. I'm not a parent. I can't imagine what that would be like to know that your child went to school today and didn't come home. That's I don't know what to say about that. It's beyond words. However, for the classmate that now has to understand that the person they sat next to at school is not with us anymore, I need to find out from them, what do you want? What should happen? How should that happen? Because the 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old that is going to school, if they're still going to school, if they're not traumatized enough to say, I'm never going in there again. Because if I were 6, 7, 8, 9, and I had been terrorized like that, no, I'm not going in there. Because that to me represents a place that I cannot survive. There's where we have the change. There's where we make the changes. There's where we decide, don't get bigger, don't build a bigger school, don't make a compound of a school, come back into your community, smaller, create the communities built on love. I've got a thing I wrote last week, somebody said it, love is my compass needle. This is where I'm going. I dedicated 2020 to love. Said, this is what I'm about. This is what I really feel like is it. Those of us who are still here, doing our thing, irregardless of what we may or may not think, somebody might have hurt our feelings. Well, sort your feelings out. Go by what was the intention. Did they mean to hurt your feelings? Probably not. Were they angry about something? Maybe. Sad, upset, depressed. Think about, if they did something that hurt your feelings, just to find out if it was intentional. Wait for there's enough space. Have a conversation. Awkward and bumpy as it seems. I'm always reminded, it isn't about me. It cannot be just about me. It isn't about you. Can't always just be about you. This is about us. All of us. No matter what skin type, eye color, height, gender, thing. We're all the same. We're all equal. We come in the world the same. We go out the world the same. What we do while we're here should be a playground of love. It should be a playground that we enjoy. I don't imagine any of us got in that line and said, we're going to go down to earth. I say down to earth. Well, we're going to go through the partition that is known as earth, and we're going to struggle our entire life. We're going to be judged, or we're going to judge others, or we're going to be hated, or we're going to hate people. I don't know that any of us got in that line and said that's what we're up for. Who does that? Now, I'm sure there are naysayers who would say, well, there's evil energy. Oh yes, there most certainly is. There's vibrational energy. There is most certainly that capacity for every single one of us to be violent, to want to kill somebody else, to want to hurt somebody else. I mean, really, hear it. Someone's done something you're upset about, you're mad about, you're angry about. Oh, I can imagine there's some stuff that's coming out that you want to do or not do. It is a lot harder to find compassion and forgiveness. It is much, much more difficult because we've been taught and told that to find compassion, to find forgiveness is a weakness. because, the masculine patriarchal society says that's not good, that can't happen. Then the other part I look at, turn the thing over, which is why, part of the reason I can't turn on mainstream news is I'm not sure to do anything about it. How do you do something about it? How do you do anything about a madman who goes into a country and decides he wants to take it over? The leader of a country who's supposed to inspire people, motivate people. Oh, no, I'm just going to go over here and take this country. Thank you. Kill those people. Blow up their homes, houses, and cities. How does any of us make that stop? By putting our intention, spiritual intention, vibrational intention, intentions forward together, a network. We've seen it happen. We've seen global changes, social changes, global justice happening. Every election cycle, midterms here, I don't know what you want to call it, but the world has elections if you're in a democratic society. Some parts of the world, no, but majority of the world do. Look at what's the intention of your elected officials. What do they want to do? How are they going to do it? And are they truly reaching across the aisle to work with their somewhat opponent to make something happen? This is what has to occur. If you have a problem at the workplace, you think you go to the boss, the person in charge. Listen, I've got an issue here. This needs to change. Yeah, I don't know if they're listening to you. If you don't like it, get another job. That's typically what we do. Anyway, I feel like I've been rambling. Just to put a little nugget in your mind. The next time you don't know what to say or what to do, go find a child. Talk to your own children, nephews, nieces. What would you like to see happen? Because this is their future. This is the world that they have to work with. Right, my friends. Until next time, I love you. Bye.